Screen time.
New research linking screen time to emotional and behavioral problems in children.
By the age of 15, 86% of kids have a smartphone.
2/3 of kids 5 to 8 already have their own smartphones and tablets.
Most parents will wonder if their kids are on their phones a little more than they should be.
As kids increase their use of social media, their symptoms of depression went up.
40% of kids 8 to 12 are using screens for more than 4 hours per day.
A child born in 2007 will never know a world without smartphones.
It's a pretty touchy subject nowadays.
I was born in 2008, so I can't really remember a time where there wasn't some tech in the house. When I was around 9 or 10, I got an iPod, and then an iPad, and then eventually an iPhone. I guess the question is all of this tech bad for us? And if it is, what do we do about it?
You could learn to moderate yourself and maybe keep your screen time down with a third-party app. You could completely abandon smart tech altogether and go full retro and reject convenience. Or you could do what I did and use some old tech with the new tech. If we're not careful, smartphone companies will have a complete monopoly over our eyes and what we use them for. It's every person's responsibility to look out for themselves and make sure they're not being taken advantage of. So what are you going to do about it?
If you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I have a particular interest in the digital detox niche. I've made 3 or 4 videos about buying a new piece of technology or an older piece of technology to reduce your screen time. But after making every single one of those videos, I immediately relapsed into using my smartphone again. So it was almost like the video was for nothing and that I didn't learn anything. Even though the advice I was giving in the video was technically good advice, it wasn't practical. I wish it were as simple as just completely ditching our friendly neighborhood smartphones. But unfortunately, it isn't. If you're watching this video, you probably are in one of 2 mindsets. The first mindset is the mindset of a person, like me, who uses their smartphone pretty frequently because they have social media apps like Instagram or Snapchat or Discord, and they don't want to lose connections with their friends because that's how everybody communicates around here nowadays. As a result, you don't want to leave your phone because of all of those connections. Ironically, you would feel more isolated by leaving your smartphone entirely than by just keeping with what you're doing, which has another form of isolation externally. The second mindset is kind of hard to pin down because if you're watching this video and you've already digitally detoxed, or you have the mental fortitude to just ditch your smartphone for a flip phone or remove technology altogether from your life, maybe you shouldn't be watching this video because I'm not that person. I don't have that strength in me. And I would much rather keep my phone and be able to snap my girlfriend or my other people that I talk to at school than just completely abandon it. If you don't want to completely abandon your phone, but you also don't want it to take over your life, a good way to moderate yourself, now more than ever, is Screen Zen. It's an app that I've used many times in multiple videos, and if you do it just right, if you configure it properly, you will see a noticeable difference in your screen time. I'm not going to walk through every single setting because it's pretty intuitive and self-explanatory, but essentially, you can bypass your screen time settings on your phone and restrict apps and limit how many times you can open it or for how long you can open it. One problem I had with Screen Zen in more recent months was the fact that I could just open the app and turn off all the restrictions. But, and I'm really glad they did this, you can now prevent yourself from opening the app, which at face value seems like a bad idea, but if you're anything like me and you want to restrict your screen time, but you don't have the moderation skills, the ability to back out, Screen Zen can prevent you from turning off the settings, so you have to live with it. Now more than ever, I would recommend Screen Zen as an app on your phone, whether it's iPhone or Android. No matter what you've got, it's probably on there in your app store. That's probably the easiest and cheapest way to make sure your screen time goes down. Especially if you're proactive and you care, then that's it. That's all you need. Over the last 8 or 9 months, I've learned quite a few things about myself. One thing is that I really like the idea of not using my smartphone, but I don't want to commit to it. The other thing is that I am very weak-willed when it comes to sticking to a routine that is unfamiliar to me. When I made the video about the iPod Classic and converting all of your songs into MP3s and bypassing Apple's purchasing system so you could have thousands of songs on a very small device, it was a good idea, but I didn't really know what I was getting myself into because I had big, bulky, wired headphones connected to this thing at all times, and that wasn't very convenient for me when I was walking through my school hallways, for example. Then I got the Bluetooth transmitter, the AirFly Pro, and that allowed me to use my AirPods Max, slightly less big, bulky headphones without a wire. But then I realized that wired headphones weren't really the problem. It was over-the-ear headphones. So then this went back in my car, and I didn't use it for months. Eventually, I settled on these very cheap, wired in-ear hooker headphones because they have the hook that goes over your ear. These are the Philips SHS 3300s. They're $20 on Amazon, and while their quality is comparable to the original earpods I got with this iPod, I don't mind because they're convenient and they're small and they stay in my ear. So, for most of my school year so far, which started about 3 weeks ago at the time of this recording, I have been using this iPod with these wired headphones and just playing my music. All of this to say that despite the fact that I've made many videos in the past about ditching smart tech or living with older smart tech, it's not practical in 2025. When I first developed this video idea in March of this year, I thought I was going to replace my iPhone with a flip phone. Obviously, that did not happen. Because if I were to do that, I would be completely isolating myself. Smartphones are a paradox because they simultaneously allow you to connect with anyone, anywhere on the planet. And make you feel isolated. I use this device to message people on Snapchat or on Discord, where I talk to all my gaming buddies for Motch gaming videos, for example. So if I were to abandon this, I would be effectively isolating myself from almost all of my friends. Because while a flip phone could just replace SMS messaging on my iPhone and allow me to call and text people with a smaller form factor and no internet, realistically, people are giving out their snaps instead of their phone numbers. Obviously, I still use my phone to call and text and snap, but beyond that, by using third-party apps like Screen Zen or finding other outlets for video or music, like my iPod. I've inherently devalued my phone. Not just in the way I use it, but in my mind. Because I know there are things that I can do that don't require a big screen, I don't use the big screen as much. Obviously, my screen time isn't 0 minutes, but overall, it stays low, especially during the week, because, as I've said before, in order to reduce your screen time, you need to fill that time you're using on your screen with other things. There's no one solution to this problem, because me making this video has a completely different mindset than some of the people watching this video. I may see old technology as a benefit to my life, but other people may see streaming services or subscriptions as more convenient than using dumb tech. So I don't think it's as easy as just leaving your phone altogether. But I also don't think that your phone should be the only thing you carry. How I took my life back is really just recognizing what I use my phone for, what I need my phone for, and what I don't need my phone for. And that's the best advice I could give to anyone watching this video. If you struggle with high screen time hours every day or every week, and you want to be productive, you want to be invested and mindful, then it's really as simple as either having someone else help you, or having ScreenZen or another third-party software help you, or really just spending a day or a week without your phone. So then the things that you know you need to do outweigh the things that you want to do, or the things you don't need on your phone. It would be perfect if we could have just never moved past the first iPhone. If Steve Jobs had never went out onto that stage and introduced this modern marvel. But at the same time, now that it's here and it's heavily integrated into our society, it's really hard to leave it. But I don't think that's the point.
While I'd love to say that reducing your screen time is as simple as throwing out your smartphone and rejecting convenience, it's not that simple. It's not about reducing your screen time. It's about maximizing how you use your screen time. So every moment matters. There's no denying that smartphones are a part of our society, whether we like it or not. But how we use them isn't set in stone. In a perfect world, I would wish that we went back and did things differently. But knowing that that's not really possible anymore, the best course of action is to make the most of it. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Mitch of Mitchell Motch, and I hope to see every single one of you in the next video. Bye-bye!